Hi, this is Tom from BlackToad Studio, and this is my 1850 points for a game I have today. So, essentially, not a typical Black Templar force, as you'll probably see, but it's one that I'm trying to use as a kind of a light tournament list because I kind of want to try and win a couple of games in one that's coming up. And I didn't think a traditional Templar army with lots of troops running across the board would work too well. But so this is what I've gone for. So we've got here a captain on a bike. He's got artificer armour, a burning blade, and a storm shield to give him a little bit of extra protection. And joining him is a command squad of five veterans. Apothecary. We've got one plasma gun in there, one power sword in there, and then two combi weapons, one combi plasma and one combi melter. So that's hopefully survivable for a bit anyway. And then I went on to troop choices, and I've gone with a Rhino with a 10-man Crusader squad with one plasma gun. And then in the middle here we have another Crusader squad, 5-man in a Razorback with a las cannon, or twin-link las cannon. And the same again over here, just to give you a little bit of mobility across the board and also some protection for the troops inside. And then elite-wise, we went with a drop pod, and inside that drop pod a Stern Guard squad. This one's kitted out with full plasma weaponry, so 2 combi plasmas, 2 normal plasmas, and a plasma pistol and a power sword on the sergeant. And basically a mirror squad over here, except not with plasma, but with grav. So this has all got the grav, 2 grav guns, 2 combi gravs, a grav pistol, and a power sword on the sergeant. And then I took a faster choice of a drop pod, and then in that drop pod I put this heavy choice of the Centurion Devastators, all armed with grav amps and grav cannons and chest missile launchers. No other upgrades on them. And then finally, I was umming and ahhing over this one, I decided to put my Dorado in. He's got the Alias missile launcher and obviously the twin-linked auto cannon style things with standing still get Skyfire, so mainly just a little combat against flyers, but I also find it's quite a decent unit anyway in most games that I've played. So yeah, that's that. I'm also just now on camera, so I've got it on camera, so my opponent knows I did roll for it. I'm going to roll for my Warlord trait. So I've got a reroll on this, and I'm rolling on the Black Templar table. So that was a 4. So at the moment, that would give me Honour and Death, so that you can reroll failed charge rolls on your Warlord unit. And I think I'm actually going to keep that, because that sounds quite handy in case I really need to get into combat with something. So I'll now move on to my opponent's list. And here is Daryl's 1850 points of Eldar. So Daryl, can you go through what you've done here?
Absolutely. So we've got the Wraith Knight over here,
Yep.
armed with 2 scatter lasers and the heavy Wraith cannons.
Yep.
Next to him is Wraith Lord with the Ghost Glaive, a Bright Lance, a Flamer, and a Shuriken Catapult. Up in the building, we've got the Dark Reapers with the Exarch, who has a Tempest launcher. Down here, we've got 6 basic Striking Scorpions with Karandras, the Phoenix Lord.
Okay.
Behind them, we've got my Crimson Hunter.
Yep.
And next to them is some Fire Dragons, who are going to be in a Falcon.
Yep.
And then we've got 5 Dire Avengers in a Wave Serpent with an Underslung Shuriken Cannon and Twin Link Scatter Lasers. And 5 Dire Avengers in the same, but with Twin Link Bright
Lancers. And also you've got your leader here, which is a Farseer.
We have a Farseer who has rolled for his Warlord's trait, and he got the Armed Distant Events, allowing him to D3 units with Scout. And he has some psychic powers, he's gone for telepathy, and he got Psychic Shriek, obviously, Dominate, Mental Fortitude, and Invisibility. Okay. I'm also running a formation in this, which is the Aspect Host, so the Dark Reapers, the Striking Scorpions, and the Fire Dragons are part of the Aspect Host. Okay. And I've chosen Ballistic Skills, so they get +1 Ballistic Skills.
And which units are you scouting?
So, well, I've got to roll to see how many I can scout.
I can do that now, that's brilliant.
D3, so...
Got a 4 then, so 2.
So I will choose the Falcon and the Wraith Knight.
Falcon and Wraith Knight, fine. Very well, now we'll move on into the game. And this is Tom from BlackToad Studio, and I'm here with Daryl today. Hi Daryl.
Hello.
We're doing an 1850 point game of Eldar versus Black Templars. Just a small disclaimer on this one, we are playing relatively well thought out armies because we're trying to try out for a couple of competitions that are coming up just to see how they perform. So if you don't like that kind of stuff, probably not best to watch this video. However, if not, enjoy it and have fun. We are playing Cleanse and Control, which is basically you get 3 objective cards every turn and you draw up to 3, so you can't have any more than 3. Night fighting is currently not on, and we rolled through it and it didn't happen. And on top of that, at the moment, I am going first. However, Daryl's going to try and seize the initiative, which he doesn't do. And just to quickly give you a very quick recap of where the objectives are, we've got objective number 2 underneath there, we've got objective number 1 down here, we've got objective number 6 here, objective number 3 there, objective number 5 down here, and just over here with the striking scorpions is objective number 4. So we'll now go over to Black Templars turn 1. Okay, so Black Templars turn 1, and here are my 3 objective cards I drew. So Psychological Warfare, Scour the Skies, No Mercy, No Respite. So we'll see if we can achieve any of them this turn. Okay, turn 1 Black Templars movement. First of all, the 2 drop pods came in and got direct hits where I wanted them. So Centurion Devastator's there, Stern Guard with grav guns over there. So hopefully having a little look at the Wraith Knight. This Rhino moved back. This, obviously, I've kept the Dorado still so it can get its Skyfire Interceptor next turn if it needs it. Bikes have moved out from behind cover to just go towards various objectives or just decide where they're going to go. They're probably going to turbo boost as well because they're not really in range or anything. Razorback moved up and Razorback moved up, so now we'll move on to my shooting phase and see what happens. Okay, turn 1 shooting for Black Templars. And as you can see over here, the Centurions did their job, so they got the Wraith Knight down with just their shooting. The Stern Guard over here shot over at the Wave 7 over there. Daryl elected not to drink, but managed to get 1 immobilising hit on it, so that is now stuck there. Other than that, the Dorado up here, I think, shot down at the Falcon over there, and I think it was actually Alias Mission also got a glance hit on it, and he saved the one from the cannon, so that's still operative, no missing weapons. And also, I think we got a couple of shots in here and 1 Dark Reaver down from the Storm Bolters. So that is my shooting. I haven't got any assault to do, so I'll just go and see what I have scored for this turn. Okay, the end of Black Templars turn 1, I managed to score No Mercy, No Respite, and I got First Blood as well. So at the moment it's 2-0, and now we'll move over to Eldar turn 1. Okay, so at the start of Eldar turn 1, we have Security to 5, Legacy of Sorrow, and Skyborn Assault. So we'll now move on to the movement phase. So Darryl, what did you do for your movement?
Okay, so essentially it was deploy everything to deal with this new threat. With the loss of the Wraith Knight, it's quite devastating actually. So, Dark Reapers stay where they are. They've got a bead on multiple targets, so either the Razorback at the back, or if necessary, something to do in the middle here. See that? This Wave Serpent's moved up, deployed the Farseer and the Dire Avengers. Farseer's going to do some psychic powers, try and give us some support that way. Wraith Lord has moved up, that'll give him the option for an assault. So we'll come back to that. Falcon has moved round upon the Fire Dragons to deal with this threat. The Fire Dragons will hopefully deal with them, but well, I've got other options if not. And finally, this one being unfortunately locked, immobilised, deployed its Dire Avengers as well to also act as a support fire. I've got to be careful I don't get too bogged down. Karandras and the Striking Scorpions have stayed where they are because they need to assault, and they can't assault turn 1, it being infiltrating.
So they're hugging the ruins at the moment.
So also they're holding that objective, it could be useful.
No, it might come up next turn, so...
it's a bit of a gamble, but I'll hold them back at the moment. I don't want to give them any way.
Okay, we'll now move over to your shooting and psychic phase. Okay, so turn 1 shooting for Eldar, and Darryl, you can tell them how my Centurions died.
Okay, so the first, most devastating thing was Psychic Shriek from the Farseer. Tom rolled very high on his leadership, and 2 of them instantly perished in screaming agony from the warp. Then the last one was actually finished off by the Dire Avengers, which have moved around here using battle focus. So they opened up a withering fire and got through those rending shots of Blade Storm.
Unfortunately, we got 2 through, so that was that.
The Fire Dragons, unfortunately, they were my backup, but what I then did was use them to clear out the drop pod, which is now gone. The Falcon and the Wave Serpent fired at the bike squad, and we did very well actually. We managed to take off 2 wounds from his Warlord and killed 2 bikes, I believe.
Yes, some very bad rolling.
Which Tom then failed a leadership and has fallen right back, which is exactly what I needed. I also opened up fire on the squad here and managed to very successfully take them out using a combination of the Dire Avengers. Sorry, that was the Wave Serpent over here did that as well. So the bikes was mostly the Falcon. Over here, the Dark Reapers and this Wave Serpent fired at the Razorback, and the Wave Serpent finished it off.
There's no destroyed, so I'll put some smoke on it in a minute.
The only thing I've got left is the Wraith Lord's going to charge in, try and deal with that last drop pod.
So we'll move over to the assault phase and see how that pans out. Okay, so during the assault phase there, the Wraith Lord charged in, destroyed the drop pod, made it explode, and killed the remaining Stern Guard there. So it's now completely clear of the area. So we'll now move on to see what he scored at the end of the turn. Okay, so at the end of the turn, Darren ended up scoring 2 victory points, 1 for Legacy of Sorrow and 1 for Skyborn Assault. So that now makes it 2-2. So we'll now move on to Templars turn 2. So at the start of turn 2 for Black Templars, I drew Honour Your Chapter, which is basically to get someone in a challenge, which I don't think will happen this turn. Moving into our movement phase, this Rhino has come round to come up behind this Razorback because I think it doesn't want to get too near Karandras, to be honest, because it doesn't want to get charged. Dorado has stayed still to gain Skyfire Interceptor. The bikes attempted to move, but we didn't quite explain last turn, but they had domination on them, is that right, yeah?
Yes.
So basically they need to roll leadership to do something. If they fail to do that, they can't do anything for that phase, so they can try and do a turbo boost in their next phase, see if they can move, and also they can also try and assault if they were near enough, but they can't do that at the moment. The Razorbacks just shuffle forward a little bit to make sure he can see all the targets he wants to look at. Unfortunately this Razorback's already dead, and the guys inside just shuffle around to not present any targets. And over here, my final drop pod came in, my plasma squads. I'm trying to go for a warlord kill here, and possibly take out the rest of the squad, but that will depend very much on how many die from my own shooting.
Hopefully many.
Hopefully many, yeah. So we will now see what happens in my shooting phase. Okay, turn 2 Templar shooting, and over here the Stern Guard that dropped out did their job. They got the Farseer and his squad, which was a very good round of shooting, and unfortunately they failed in vulnerable save by double toughness, unfortunately knocked the Farseer out. Elsewhere, this Falcon has been destroyed by the Dorado over here with his main cannons. The missiles then shot at the Fire Dragons and managed to knock another 2 off. Force leadership test, which was passed. The Las cannon from here shot over at the Wave Serpent back there and managed to take a well, I think it was a glancing hit and 1 hull point essentially. Yeah. So, and I think that is it. Oh, and the bikes over here, even though it's very chickeny, they rolled their leadership to try and get their move, the turbo boost off, and they moved behind the ruins to get out of the line of fire. So we'll now move on to Eldar. Actually, we'll move on to what I scored first, and then I'll move on to turn 2 for Eldar. So they had a turn 2 for Templars. I only actually got Warlord kill, so that now leaves 3-2 to Templars. So at the start of turn 2 for Eldar, we're all secure objectives here, so 1, 3 and 5. Now move on to the movement phase. Okay, so turn 2 for Eldar movement, and your flyer came on down?
Indeed it has. It's Suton, and I've specifically placed it to be out of range of the Doritos Intercept.
Yeah, so it needs over that.
So hopefully I can try and deal with that. Probably won't be able to, but if I can dance around, gain some value out of it before he possibly shoots it down, then all good. The Wave Serpent has moved around, and the plan is to turbo boost it to capture objective number 1. Over here, the Fire Dragons have gone to Gowns, making sure I get the objective under here.
Yeah, this is just sitting down there.
The Dark Reapers have stayed put, they've just literally turned around, they're going to deal with them hopefully. The Wraith Lord has moved forward. Because he's now my powerhouse, he's got to keep going, hopefully cause some problems and so on, we'll wait and see. Karandras has finally moved. I probably left him back for too long. I should have been moving in turn 1, but I didn't want to risk him with the luck I had turn 1, so probably my bad there, but he's now on the move. And these Dire Avengers, they rolled very well on the move through cover roll, and have moved into the building.
Yeah. A bit of safety.
So
that's the movement phase. We'll now head on to the psychic. Oh no, psychic. So just shooting phase, and we'll see what happens. Okay, turn 2 shooting for Eldar. So, what happened here, Daryl?
Okay, so bit of a pot shot actually from the Wraith Lord. He doesn't usually do that well, but he fired his bright lance in at the Razorback and got an explosion result.
Yeah.
Completely took it out.
Took out 1 Marine with it as well.
Carandris is continuing to move up. They're not very keen though. They only rolled a 2 even with fleets for their run move.
Over here?
Over here, well, the Crimson Hunter moved round, fired at the bike squad. I was hoping for a few precision shots. I managed to take out a couple of the front guys, but then that's about it.
Yeah, so he's still okay at the back over here.
The highlight for this turn had to be the Dark Reapers, who have dealt with the Plasma Squad very efficiently.
They're all gone.
The Tempest launcher there came in, well, great help. And then the other 3 missiles dealt with the remaining couple of
there.
The only other thing I did was, as I said, Wave Serpent turbo boosted round to get me this objective. And that's pretty much it.
Right, so at the end of the turn, Daryl scored 2 objectives, objective 3 and 1. So that brings your total of 4. Is that correct?
Indeed,
So it's 4-3 to Eldar. We'll now move on to turn 3 for the Black Templars. Okay, at the start of turn 3 for Black Templars, I've got the same objectives here, so we're going to try and see if we can complete a couple. During my movement phase, the Rhino moved round. Well, before it moved, all of my men disembarked, so it got a bolt line ready to try and whittle down the Karandash squad and maybe kill him, but I doubt it, but at least we could get a few off there. The other squad joined them as well, and this squad's moved round along with the bikes from over there, and then the Rhino moved into kind of a shielding position to make sure they don't get hit from the side. So that's pretty much my movement done there. So now we'll see how the shooting progresses. So during my turn 3 shooting phase, essentially as we look through here, all the Marines that are piled up there got out and bolted the squad here, managed to take them all but 1, and Karandus is left obviously, so I'm presuming there's going to be an assault next turn. We'll see what happens. Other than that, the Dorado shot down at the Wraith Lord and managed to take off a wound. Nothing special there, but it's the only thing that can really do any damage to it at the moment. So we'll now move on. Oh, sorry, and the bike's turbo boosted around here just to get a little bit further away from various distractions and to try and stay alive. So essentially at the end of that, I didn't unfortunately score anything. I am going to discard Honour the Chapter because I don't think I'm going to get a challenge at the moment. So that is gone, and I've left with Psychological Warfare and Scale Skies ready to try and score next turn. So now we're on to Eldar, turn 3. So at the start of turn 3 for Eldar, turn 3 for Eldar, we've got Kane's Wrath, Secure Objective 5 and Secure Objective 6. So we'll see what happens in the movement phase. So turn 3 movement for the Eldar, and as you can see this wave turn just moved over here.
Indeed, it's going to hopefully get a bead on either the Rhino or the Marines. See what happens.
No choice. The flyer here, just come over.
That's swooped over. That's actually going to try and take care of the Dorito before the Dorito gets some shots on it, but we'll wait and see.
And then obviously the Wraith Lord's moved up as well.
Indeed. It's essentially now go for broke. What can move up is moving up, so these are slowly moving up.
They've moved down. So yeah, we'll now move on into the shooting phase and we'll see what Daryl can achieve in his turn 3 shooting. Okay, turn 3 shooting for Eldar, and over here.
Yeah, the Wave Serpent dealt with the Rhino over there. I was hoping for an explode result, but it was just a wreck.
To finish off with the shrinking, didn't you, in the end? So.
Yeah. The Wraith Lord also fired into it. He was going to charge in if necessary, but he's not. The Crimson Hunter and Dorito didn't do anything. It fluffed it entirely, so that could cost me quite dearly.
We shall see if the Skyfire rings true on it.
The only other thing is the remaining aspects over here of moving up slowly.
Battle focus, is that correct, yeah?
Yep, using battle focus to full effect where possible. And then just the main highlight's going to be in a moment, Karandris and the remaining Striking Scorpion against all of these Marines.
So this could be an interesting combat. Whether he survives the Overwatch is the interesting bit. We'll see how many he can kill.
We'll wait and see.
Yeah, he's got 2 up save, so, and I've got to get 6s to hit, so we'll now move on to the assault phase. Okay, so turn 3 assault for Eldar, and Commandos charged in and managed to mop up a fair few Marines. That's one of mine died in Overwatch, and the other 5 were clipped apart by his little dainty claw.
Indeed. Well, the man blaster cut one down straight away, and then the claw did the rest.
So we'll now go on to see what Darryl scored in his turn. Okay, so at the end of turn 3 for Eldar, he managed scoring 1 point for Kane's Wrath for charging. So that gets you up to 5, I think now. Yeah.
Indeed.
So we'll now move on to turn 4 for Black Templars. So at the start of turn 4 for Templars, we drew Security 2, which unfortunately is all the way over that side of the board. So we'll leave that one. I'll probably discard it in turn, and I'll move on to my movement phase. Okay, so my movement phase. So the bike squad has moved round. Probably going to try and charge into Karandras this turn. I've got a company champion there in the veteran squad, and also the obviously my leader there could do a challenge possibly. Well, thinking I probably won't do with the leader as he's on 1 wound at the moment. The 2 bolter squads that are left just space out a bit and try to get ready in case they do need to shoot some more shooting. And the Draider is obviously now in Skyfire mode. We'll probably have a crack at the plane over there to see if we can take out the skies. We've got Scale of the Skies. So we'll see what happens in the shooting phase, and we'll be back in a second. Okay, at the end of the shooting phase, the Dorado shot over at the Crimson Hunter, managed to take 2 hull points off it. It then used its specialist tracking, independent tracking to fire the missiles down at the fire dragons and killed 1 more. Unfortunately, they passed the leadership. These guys down here, the bolter squad here, actually managed to get a couple of shots off up at the Crimson Hunter, but hit but didn't do anything. So that's pretty much shooting phase. So now we'll move on to the assault phase and see what happens. Okay, at the end of that round of combat, unfortunately, even though the chapter master went in with his little buddy, he managed to chop them all apart and destroy all of them. So now he's looking for more blood, probably over this direction to a few more Marines. So that is the end of Black Templar's turn 4, and I'll just show you what I scored that turn. Okay, at the end of that turn, unfortunately, I didn't manage to score any points in that one. So we'll now move into Eldar turn 4 and see what happened during that turn. So at the start of turn 4 for Eldar, the big game hunter card was drawn. So obviously that'll be the Dorado over there. And obviously still was secured at 5 and 6. So now we'll move on into the movement phase. Turn 4 movement for Eldar, and down here the waves have moved up and down. Yeah.
Indeed.
And over here,
that rifle's just moved onto that objective. It's one of the ones I need, so
I believe all these have moved forward as well.
Yeah,
So
they've
Fire
just
Dragons,
moved
Star
forwards.
Avengers, and then this Katana did a little vector.
Yeah, vector's answered, so it's still snap shooting, but
Got to have a go, haven't you?
side armour.
Yeah.
Side armour at least.
And then Karanis just popped out to say hello to these Marines.
Indeed. He's on 1 wound left, by the way, which we forgot to mention as we go through, but he is being whittled down.
Yeah. So that is that. So we'll now move on to your shooting phase and see what you can damage. Okay, so turn 4 shooting for Eldar, and the Crimson Hunter fired its crippled weaponry up at the Dorado. Unfortunately missed with all 3 shots, yeah?
Indeed,
And then the Wraith Lord thought he'd have a go as well.
Missed.
Missed as well, and then these Dire Avengers shot through under here at the Crusader squad. Hit, but I got a save, so...
The fire dragons is quite focused up.
And also over here.
Tried to pop the drug pod, but no luck.
Nothing like that. So that is the end of turn 4 shooting. We'll now move on to the assault phase. So I think we've just got 1 to go there, as you can see with the camera. And we shall see what happens. So turn 4 Eldar assault, and predictably Karandas wiped out the Crusader squad. So they're all dead, and he's backed off just over his pillar because he just saw some Marines over there. Doesn't quite want to take the full bolter. Or however, the Dorado might pop down and say, oh, I don't know yet. Got choices. So we'll now move on to let's see what Darryl scored at the end of the turn. So I'm going to move straight over. Did you get anything there?
Okay, I think I got objective marker 6.
Yep.
Didn't destroy a vehicle, didn't get objective marker 5.
So another point there. I think they're on 6 now, is that right? Or 7?
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7. So 7 to my 3 at the moment. So unfortunately I need to do some catching up here. I haven't really been able to score the objectives. So we'll now move on to turn 5 for Templars, and we'll see what happens. Okay, start of turn 5 for Templars, and I drew Retribution, which which basically means I've got to steal objectives off them, which unfortunately I won't be able to do because they're nothing capable of doing that at the moment. So we'll now move on to my movement phase, and all I've done there is move these Marines a bit closer to Karandas to try and get a good rapid fire shot at him and see if we can maybe wipe him out before he tries to kill us in combat again. So we'll now move on to the shooting phase. Okay, so during turn 5 for the Templars, shooting phase, the Dorado shot at its target over here and managed to knock the flyer out of the sky. It then used its independent tracking to fire the missiles down at the Dire Avengers and managed to kill 3 and also managed to make them fail a leadership, so it meant I got psychological warfare, which is good. So that's my turn now because I haven't got anything to assault, so I'm just going to go to my score straight away. So we've got psychological warfare and scour the sky, so that's giving me another 2 points, bringing me up to... Okay. Start of Eldar turn 5 and Darrow's drawn psychological warfare. So still objective 5 and big game hunter to go. We'll now move on to the movement phase. Okay, at the start of turn 5 for Eldar movement. Commandus has moved up here as you can see, and just behind him as the wave servants come up behind to hopefully finish off this little group of Marines. And the Wraith Lord just shifted over to have a better line of sight of the Dorado.
Indeed. Also, sure worth mentioning, it'll be a bit of a long shot, but the 2 remaining fire dragons, they've moved up there.
Oh, yeah, just down here, sorry, put on the camera.
You might get a lucky battle focus up. We'll wait and see.
We'll see. So now we'll move on to the shooting phase. Okay, turn 5 shooting for Eldar. This wave serpent shot up at the Dorado and actually managed to get a nice hit on it.
Point, that's right. Got a pen, but just ended up immobilised, shaking it.
Shaking it, exactly. So
the Wraith Lord tried to fire up, fluffed it, easy. And the Dark Reapers, there's some kind of shield on that, I swear.
Still can't quite destroy the lonely drop pod over here. So that is the end of the Eldar turn 5, but we're going on to assault first, obviously, so apologies about that. Over here, so Kronos will now assault in. And at the end of turn 5 here, as you can see, Kronos has destroyed all of them. He is still alive though, he's just run around over here. So he's now hiding away from the Dorado, which is probably very sensible, because even snap shooting that thing could be quite horrifically painful. So that is the end of Eldar turn 5, and at the end of that, I don't think you got anything, did you, Darren, in the end?
No.
So still hanging on to those 3 objectives there, and I'll move on to see if we have a turn 6.
So roll for it right now.
Go for it, Darren. We are. So on to turn 6 Black Templars with my lonely Dorado. Okay, and at the start of my turn, I've had a very lucky draw. I've got Kingslayer. So as I've already killed the Warlord, I will be getting D3 there at the end of the turn. And I've drawn Assassinate, and I've still got open Projecturation. So that's the end of my objectives there. So we'll now move on to my movement phase, and we'll see what I do. Okay, at the start of turn 6 for Templars, I moved my Dorado over here so it can have a look at. And at the start of the shooting phase for Templars in turn 6, we shot all of our snapshots down at the Wraith Lord here because we realised it was a character, so we've got the Assassinate. We'll put a scoring point over here. Unfortunately, hit a couple of times but didn't manage to wound it properly, and that one of them got through was a saved. So that is the end of my turn, and then at the end of that one I scored D3 for Kingslayer, so I'll just roll that now. Managed to get 2 points for that, so that's good. So now we'll move on to turn 6 for Eldar, which may be the final turn, but we'll see when we roll. Start turn 6 for Eldar, and the cards haven't changed, so we've still got the same 3 there. And during the movement phase over here, the fire dragons leapt up the side of the thingy, up the ladder, and to face the Dorado down, and the Wraith Lord shimmied over that way again to get a slightly better line of sight. So that's that. We'll now move on to the shooting phase and see if they can take out the Dorado. And sadly, in the shooting phase for Eldar, the mighty Dorado fell to the fire dragons, who managed a 6 and they didn't need their +3 on their table, so it exploded terrifically, and they both survived the explosion as well. So during that turn, big game hunter scored for Eldar. So that's put them 1 point ahead of me now. Because I've still got the drop pot alive, even though it's on it's on 2 hull points after taking a glancing at that turn. So we'll now see if it goes on again. So Darren, and roll.
Indeed.
I'm hoping for not. No, it's that. That is it.
That is
so
it. So
that's the end of the turn, end of the game. We'll just calculate out the scores and make sure we've got it all right, and we'll come back to you. Okay, so at the end of that epically bloody battle, the scores ended up with Eldar 9 and Space Marines 8. So all in all, although I have only the drop pod left on the board, it was quite an even game. Essentially, there's a few things I definitely will do differently next time for my list.
Same for me.
Same for Darryl. I think we had a couple of interesting instances halfway through the game and everything that way. As usual, these things you don't really realise what you're taking until you start playing with it. So, essentially, my choice would probably be to drop the bikes now, and probably the bike on the captain on the bike, and replace him with something either not going to get himself killed or in situations where he gets killed too easily. Because I must admit, he didn't really give much use or utility to me in that game. Anything for you, Dan, you might note? Or
Wraith Knight. I didn't. Well, I basically didn't have it for the game.
No.
Died turn 1, but still managed to do that much damage.
Yep.
I think plug its gap with more aspect warriors, maybe a bit more manoeuvrability.
Yeah.
I think that would be, to be honest with you, a bit more competitive. I know everyone goes on about jet bikes and the warp spiders, so perhaps plug those in if I'm going full competitive tournament.
So a couple of tweaks on this. Maybe we'll have another game soon with a tweaked list each or something for a bit of to see how they pan out against each other. So all in all, good game. Thank you for the game, Darryl.
Thank you, Colin.
And we'll see you in the next battle report. Take care.